All right, everyone, what's going on? Welcome to Survivor Season 2, Lalomanu Beach. Tonight, we are going to break down all 14 of the contestants that are going to be playing on this season. Super excited to talk about everyone. You have myself, Lauren Pratt, my co-host, McKenna Feeney. Also joining us tonight to break down the cast is Season 1 contestant Jeremy Urban. Jeremy, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Glad to be here. Glad to talk about all these amazing cast members that we have. It's good to be back.
So excited for you to provide that knowledge of being in a mini, being in our mini, because some people have done minis before, but ours is kind of very different from how other people run things because of the way we do confessionals. We're very into we want to hear what you guys have to say, so that might be pulling you away from strategy. Sorry about that. So you can provide the insight to all of that mess.
Yeah, and what you hear me say in the second episode of my season is this game it takes it up a level with all the breakout rooms, with confessionals. I was definitely pulled out for confessionals while I was talking about strategy, so I know how it feels.
And we are going to start with the guys here. First person we're going to talk about is Anthony Ellwood. He is 38 years old and he's a community director. So initial thoughts on Anthony, you guys.
Well, it says he's played in 3 full orgs, so I'm assuming long games, and placed first, second, and first. So that's pretty damn strong, but if they are full-length orgs, we're doing this in a day. So he's not going to have that time to build the relationships with people. He's just going to have to find people and that's it.
Yeah, definitely. What I have is he can't be too cocky or confident in himself, because once people sniff that out, they'll vote you out in a heartbeat. And so I think he has to play it low, just get his footing, get those initial connections, and then do what he does best. Because apparently, whatever he's doing works for him. So,
well, that's the difference in a mini. It's so fast paced. Whereas if you're playing in a long game, you can talk to these people over a long duration of time. But in a mini, you might have 10, 15 seconds with someone. You have to be able to sell it to that person. Yes, I'm someone you want to work with.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it says he compares himself to Tony. So he's really got to be very careful if he compares himself to Tony, because we saw Tony win twice, but we also saw him go out very early in Game Changers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how I'm feeling for Anthony, I think he's either going to go early or he's going to go the duration of the game. I don't foresee him as being someone that's going to go out towards the middle, because if he's comparing himself to Tony, he could be too intense and that could be a turnoff for some people. But if he's able to dial it all back, do all the Tony antics and make that a strategy, he could go far.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Anyone else have anything to say about Anthony?
I think we're good.
Yeah.
All right. So next person that we have is Kyle Durrett. He is 21 years old and he is a college student. We have 2 college students on this list, so got a couple of youngins.
Yeah, so I actually pulled Kyle into play. He won one of my trivia games and came in 3rd in the Jeopardy Champions round. So he really knows his Survivor facts. He knows the nuances and stuff like that. It's his first org appearance. So we don't really have much to go on based off of Anthony, who has played some, but I feel if he could get an alliance, get some good people, then that could be able to take him further.
Yeah, when I was doing my research on Kyle, I feel he has a really good personality that can really just help him socially to build those initial bonds and get that tight alliance. But I could also see him as a wild card. He could just do totally something off the rails and do something crazy. I'm really interested to see how he plays this game.
Yeah, and he's... Sorry, go, Lauren.
Oh, no, I was just going to say also he somewhat compares himself to a David Wright type of character because of his neurotic tendencies that David Wright has. So I think that could be somewhat beneficial in a mini.
Yeah.
So I also feel like he's kind of the quiet, more reserved type. So I feel like Jeremy, he might play a little bit like you, where you tend to take a step back and observe what's going on before making your move.
Yeah, but that could also hurt him in a mini.
Right.
In a long game, I was able to do that, no problem. But definitely with this mini, like what Lauren was saying before, like this game moves so fast. And if you sit back too much, then you're not ahead of the game, and it could cost you. But if he's able to make a quick assessment and then make those fast decisions from there, he would do really well.
Jeremy, as someone that's played in this high intense min that we have, is there a particular strategy that people should use right at the beginning? Because we're talking about here how you don't necessarily want to jump the gun and be in everyone's face, but you can't lay back because then no one's able to get to know you.
Yeah, I think definitely in the beginning of my season, I was thinking about doing just like laying back for a few rounds and just kind of seeing what was going on. But I couldn't do that. Like I had to make those quick connections. And I think just reaching out to a few people just right at the very beginning, the people that you think you'd be able to work with, and picking their head a little bit, and just seeing where it takes you. I mean, our tribe won the first immunity challenge, and so we were able to have that time to kind of bond and get to know each other more. So if they're able to do that, that's great. But if not, then they got to find something fast before they're.
And you better be good at that challenge. That first challenge, you better win it, because that is like either be good in the challenge or win the challenge, because that's essentially what that first vote is.
Yep, all based on first impressions typically.
Yeah.
So the next person that we have is Shay Sunday. He is 35 years old. He's a software consultant. So I actually played in a mini with Shay, and he's a pretty good player, but typically he goes fairly early, I think because people catch on to what type of game he has. And he even mentioned that in here that he's someone that he's been a part of 6 or 7 of them, but just can't get over that hump where he's able to fully get himself all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Okay, so my thing is, if he's a fan of Rupert, Rupert doesn't have the best strategic prowess. So that would be my only, if he's trying to pull strategy from anything Rupert was doing, then he's got to pick a different player, because that's kind of iffy.
Yeah. And do we know like where people see like where his game is and that's why they vote him out? Or like, do we know kind of why he's getting that same vote out every time?
So he even says in his little questionnaire that he compares himself to Spencer. And he's saying that because he's a bit blind socially, and that's also how Spencer is. So I think he doesn't realize when people are turning on him. Therefore, he's not able to sniff that out and then go and form a new alliance that's going to keep him in the game.
Yeah, and I think with Shay, if he's aware of why he's being voted out and he's able to adjust and turn the tables and maybe be a little bit more attentive about like the way people are talking to him, or whenever he goes into a breakout room and people just stop talking, then hopefully he's able to pick up on that and then he's able to get through that hump. I hope he's able to do it.
Yeah, one thing that's different about this season 2 mini that you didn't have, Jeremy, is we're not doing Messenger. It is solely based on breakout room. So you have to talk to people. You have to be that person to be like, Jeremy, Lauren, breakout room, let's go. Like, there's no other way around it, because there's no Zoom Messenger, there's no Facebook Messenger, none of that. We want just purely strategy and talking to people.
Yeah, which I'm all for. I mean, definitely those first few rounds in my game, that was dead silence for a good 10 minutes. So I'm good about I'm excited about the breakout rooms, and it's only going to be about the breakout rooms to communicate with people. It's going to be very exciting.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game changer that we're implementing with this season too. And I also want to note too, he is into D&D and board games, and you have to be a strategist to be able to play D&D. So if he's able to utilize those components, he could do well in the game. I'm really unsure with him because he said he normally goes early. So maybe he can get over that hump, make it to the end, or he might just stick where he normally goes. I don't know.
We have so many people that are actually interested in D&D on this cast. It just so happened to. So like maybe they find that bond and like there's your alliance to the end. So who knows?
D&D alliance. All right, so that's all I feel about Shea. I think he's going to be someone that's interesting to watch. We just aren't sure where he's going to really fall in the game.
Yeah.
Next person we have is Greg Davidson. He's 36 years old. He's a business owner.
Anybody who John recommends to play, John Millsip, who played in season 2 of TRHS and one of our close friends, anybody who he recommends to play, gotta be good. Like, I feel like it's gotta be some good TV.
But I am a little bit worried about his occupation. Being a business owner, I feel like sometimes they can get a little bit hot-headed. So I'm not sure if if I'm right about that, then I'm not sure if that's going to be playing into a factor in this game where if maybe something doesn't go his way, he could blow up and maybe blow up his own game.
So we actually asked.
He's also into D&D.
Yeah.
He's also into D&D, so you don't know.
For a blurb about Greg because we don't know him, so we don't really have anything to go off of for the cast assessment on him besides any form of social media and the form that we sent to everybody. But John said, Greg will bring a fantastic chaotic energy to the game. He is a boisterous and stubborn person who will rarely be persuaded away from his opinion and will play balls to the wall the entire time.
So my takeaway from that, I like the balls to the walls part because there's a little bit of me in that. However, the stubbornness, that is something that you have got to overcome in these games. If you are not willing to shake with the different alliance and you're always set in stone with what you want to do and people aren't fully on board with that and you can't change up your game, it's not going to work in a mini.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, you got to get rid of the stubbornness. Like even in the long game that I played, after a certain point, I was jumping around alliances like nobody's business. And so, yeah, you have to be adaptable. You have to be fluid. You can't just be set in your ways and get that tunnel vision or you'll go home.
Because everything can change in an instant, especially in a mini. Someone gets pulled to a confessional, a whole new plan could start right then and there. So you can't be set in your ways in a mini, especially.
Mm-mm.
He also seems very old school simply because he lists Borneo as his favorite season. So I'm just not sure if he's going to be able to get along with all these people. I'm happy that he's going to be someone interesting to watch based on what John's saying. I have Greg low on the totem pole for doing well on this season.
Well, we see someone like Austin in this season where he isn't a crazy Survivor fan. That was his first org, but he gives some amazing confessionals. He's very personable. So like, who knows how well Austin can do in the game, but he seems like he's going pretty well and he's in a decent spot as of right now. So who knows? Someone could latch on to Greg and like there's your final 2 or 3.
Yeah.
As someone who worked with Austin, Jeremy.
Yeah, I mean, things just happen all of a sudden in a mini. And if he's in the right place at the right time, he could get that final 2, final 3 deal. And it could get him all the way to the end. You never know.
I'm not changing my mind. I think he's low on the totem pole. And I think he goes early.
We have to
try to convince me.
We have to give the pluses and the minuses.
I can't wait to watch this back and see how right I was about people. But we will find out as we continue to go through this. All right. Next person I have on my list is Dylan Hattabaugh. He is 26 years old and a route sale representative.
Okay. I love Dylan. I worked with Dylan in a game, not Survivor, but I think he's just a really great guy and easy to talk to, like easy to get to know. And I think if he finds the right people, he could do well. But if he doesn't get that in, then he's not going to make it far, because in our Big Brother game, he was kind of on the outs because there was a lot of people who knew each other, at least from season 2 on the cast. So I tried to make an in with him, and he was a really great guy. So I feel like if he gets his couple people, he could align himself really well and be set.
Yeah. And I think even with his profession, I mean, a sales representative, like, they have to be convincing. And so I think even if his back is against the wall, he's going to probably make a really good case on why they should keep him and take out another huge threat or just someone else where it's not him. And so I think he could probably do pretty well in this game. Dylan was on my BB fantasy draft, so I'm hoping he does well in this game as well. But I think Dylan might be one to watch in this season.
Yeah, he very well could be one to watch. I hosted him in another mini. He went out very early in that mini, and it's also because there was a limited amount of people that you really could work with. So if you weren't on the right side of the numbers, you were pretty toast quickly, and it was ultimately his demise. However, he does compare himself to Jeremy because of the passion, and I think he is that type of person. He's very passionate about others, wants to get to know them and get in well. So I think Dylan's going to be higher tier in this game. The only thing he has to worry about is making sure he gets those connections at the beginning. If he falls behind, I don't think he can recover, just based off the player that he is.
That's why I think it's great that we have a lot of people, pretty much everybody doesn't know each other. So he's not walking into things with pre-existing relationships. He can make those relationships and those bonds.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. That's what we wanted for this season. We did not want people having those pre-existing relationships, because you want to put 14 people in a game where they're able to, all right, I'm going to work with this person. I have no idea who they are, but they look cool. They seem nice. And I think I have that connection, which the thing about pre-existing relationships is, even if you didn't necessarily work with that person in the past, if you see a familiar face, you're typically going to go with them because they're somewhat comfortable.
Oh, yeah. I mean, definitely.
And you know their game for good or for better, for good or for worse. So,
yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see 14 people who have never played together. I'm really excited to see how it all shakes down, because definitely in my season so far, like, we do have people, like, I knew Corey, Phil, Karen, like, I knew a ton of people.
Ryan, and even though you didn't play with Ryan, he hosted you.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how this season plays out with all newbies.
Yeah, which brings us to our next person. We have Robert Allen, who's 58 years old, and he is retired. I will say I actually had played in a game with him. I was never on his tribe. He ended up leaving the game due to different reasons, but he's back now for another go at the game.
Let's hope he stays in the game, because we casted him for a reason. So let's see how he does in a fast-paced mini, if he can handle the stress of a mini when he left a long game. We'll see.
Yeah, I think he's going to bring, like, really good TV to this season. I think he's a character. Yeah, but I am tentative about if something doesn't go his way, it may end up being like the last time he played. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I want to see him go through the entire thing. But do I think he's going to make it far? I'm not entirely sure. If his tribe loses that first challenge, and they may base it off age. Yeah, if he doesn't perform well, then he might be an early boot.
One good thing though is we do have a very like spread out age range. So it's not just a group of 20-year-olds and Bob where he's 58. Yep. So there's no clear like defined age gap.
We have people in their 40s, we have people in their 30s, we have people in their 20s, we have people still in their teens. So the range is perfect for the season, and I'm absolutely loving that part. What I will say about Robert is he's going to deliver in his confessionals. He's actually very funny, so we will get that entertainment value from him. And I'm with you, Jeremy. I'm not really sure how well he's going to do in this game, especially if his tribe does lose the first challenge and you only really have first impressions to go off of. Yeah. However, if he performs well and someone else sucks, then hopefully he's able to convince people to vote that person out.
Yep. Let's just hope he doesn't rub anybody the wrong way either, because if he tries too hard to be like that funny guy or something like that, or push certain things or be too stubborn, then he could also find himself, no matter how well he does in a challenge, voted out. Just don't know.
Yeah, and he compares himself to Tyson, and some people love Tyson, some people dislike Tyson. So he's going to fall right there in that middle ground.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an acquired taste.
Yes. All right, we have the next person, Eli Stoltz. He's 20 years old, and he's a machinist.
Okay, so what do you guys think a machinist is?
I have no idea. Like builds machines?
Or works with machines? I don't know.
Fixes machines? Repairs them? I don't know.
I'm not really sure what his occupation is, but the fact that we're unsure about it makes me intrigued.
Yes, so Eli, let us know what a machinist is.
Please leave us a comment, contact us so we know what a machinist is. But it's also his first org as well, which I love. I love getting fresh blood into the org world, and they can like get their feet wet and know like the wonderful world of online reality games.
Yeah, so when I was doing my research on Eli, I think he could probably have like a really like tough or like rough exterior, but I think his heart and his passion is there. And I think he could probably be pretty loyal once like people get to know him and he starts breaking through to people. And so I think he could do pretty well this season.
He's going to be a character. Yeah. I've seen him on some Zooms and I've actually interacted with him. So I do know a little bit about Eli. He's going to be someone that's a character. I think he's going to perform well in challenges as well. The thing about minis is some people base it on challenge performances and then other people choose not to do so. It just kind of depends on the group that you're in, because honestly, once you get through the beginning stages before going into the merge, if you get to the merge with someone that sucks at challenges, better for you, honestly.
Yeah.
I only worry, since it is his first org, the first time you ever play an org, it can be a little bit overwhelming because you really don't know what you're getting yourself into.
Exactly. And especially
like what McKenna was saying, like this game moves so fast. Like I'm lucky that I had a long game before I played this mini because I kind of knew what to expect. But once that game, like you start that Zoom call, you don't end until either you're at the end reading votes or your torch gets snuffed. So
one thing that Jeremy did say to us when he was saying his vote, like holding up his vote for someone, he said, play a mini, they said. It would be fun, they said, because we had to convince him to try and play this mini with us. So it'll be interesting for those first time mini players.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. And he is someone that I recruited to get on here. I wanted to see him playing a game, and I'm excited that we are going to have him. But with that being said, the next person on my list is Shawn Groves. He is 18 years old, and he is a full-time student.
Interesting. His average placement in games is 9th, so that's not too bad. So there's definitely room for improvement. And I feel like roughly being 9th in a game is actually rather advantageous in a mini because you don't have that overarching threat level, but you can make it past the merge and able to kind of have your own, gain your own footing.
Yeah. And kind of like going what he said in his survey is the only season that he's watched of Survivor is Worlds Apart. And so it's just pretty interesting. Worlds Apart is my personal favorite season. And so I'm really interested to see how he uses that season to kind of play his game, if he even uses it to play his game. But it maybe also bite him in the butt if he doesn't have all of that prior Survivor knowledge about how to adapt his game,
right,
and how to look for things. And so,
and it's also something to bond over too. Like, oh, I love blank. I love this person. Yeah. Oh, who's your favorite? Because that's a lot of things within the community, how people bond. Like, who's your favorite player? Like, let's discuss. And if you only have one season to go off of, it's hard to make that connection, at least.
Yeah.
So I've actually had a few conversations with Shawn before, and he is a very, very fiery, outspoken individual. He's not going to be someone that's afraid to hold back. So if he's in a scenario where he's potentially down in numbers, he's going to fight for his spot in the game. He's not going to just lay down, die, and get voted out. He's going to be someone that's going to fight for his spot and make sure that he can get to the end. So I'm excited to see him play because he has played in so many different games.
And we got a lot of fiery personalities. We got a lot of different personalities on this season. So it's going to be fun to just see them like explode and butt heads.
You know I like explosions, and you know I'm going to bring the heat to all of them at Tribal Council. So everyone,
of course,
beware, be prepared. You don't know what you're getting yourself into.
But Lauren, do you know what you like more than explosions? Wheels.
I do. I do like the wheels. All right. How do you guys think Shawn's going to place?
Well, I think now that I know more knowledge about his personality and he doesn't hold back, I think he could go far.
I think it all depends on who he gets broken out into a tribe with and how he can connect with those people, or if he decides to create something new at the merge, who knows? But I think it all depends on the people for him. If he's going to be this fiery, like dominating person in the tribal phase, that's not good. You don't want to be that person who's just, all right, so here's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been there, done that at tribal councils with being fiery. So sometimes it gets you what you want.
Well, yeah. I mean, we see with Dan, he in season 1, he blew up his tribal council, and I mean, he was going home anyway, but like it didn't help his case to blow up that tribal council.
Hobo, it was good TV though.
Yes, it was.
All right.
All right. With that, we have wrapped up the guys, and we are going to move on to the girls now. Next person we're going to be talking about is Serena Silliker, and she is an engineer. Also, I want to add, she is married to Robbie, who has played in a ton of games. He's a great strategist, so I cannot wait to see how his wife plays.
Yes, I am really excited. I really like Robbie. I love the energy that he brings to things. That's why we really wanted him to help with our exit interviews, because he brings a great perspective and brings great questions. He's also really personable. So I feel like with Serena, if she just brings that same likability, then she's got longevity in this game.
Yeah, definitely. And with her being an engineer, she's smart. And so I'm really hoping that she is she's a great strategist like Robbie, because then if she has the strategy, I think she's going to be sociable like Robbie. And then her challenge performance, if that's up there too, then she's the whole package. And she's going to be a triple threat in this game.
she's got an amazing coach too. Like she has Robbie at home with her. Obviously not to coach her while during the game, but he's played in so many different things. He's played in a mini, in a long game. So he has the knowledge of how things work. He's also viewing this mini currently, so he can help her with like, hey, they're just randomly pulling people. Watch out. Like,
yeah, and she also compares herself to Christian, who's a super nerd. And the thing with that, Christian was very personable, super likable, and that's why he really didn't get to the end of his season. That's the only thing I worry about with her. If you come across way too likable and personable, they take you pretty far in the game, but they don't want to sit with you at the end. So you have to be able to realize when you're being too much for some people, dial it back a little bit. But you still want to be personable, because when you get to the end, you need people to vote for you.
Exactly. Yep. So we can also reference season 1 with this again, because we see Nick. Nick is connecting with people. He's talking. You don't get to see it, but in the breakout room when they don't go to tribal council, that first episode, he's asking people what they like. But we see the downside of he messaged Dan and Karen like the same message, and like that's a no-go. You want to be that personable, but you don't want to overdo it. And we saw a lot of Nick is a threat, Nick is a threat, Nick is a threat. I want to get him so I have the numbers on my side, but then he's going to go as soon as possible because he's that personable.
Yep.
Fun fact, never message the same people, the exact same message. People talk. So that's just a little tidbit.
In any future games.
Yes.
All right,
so
next.
We're going to go on to the next person, and I have Nikki Tepp here. She's 26 years old, and she's a nurse. And what bings out to me when I hear nurse, compassionate for other people.
And can deal with a bunch of crap. Because like nurses get either from patients or like other people in the workplace, because that's a crazy stressful and fast-paced environment. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's super advantageous to her playing in a mini rather than a long game, because she's on her feet, go, go, go.
Yep. Yeah, and I think this is a perfect type of game for her. And I think being a nurse, you also have to be like detail oriented. And so that may come in handy whenever people are looking for idols or advantages in games.
And pick up on social cues too, like be aware of your surroundings, all that. I feel like Nikki could do some damage in this game.
Yeah.
I agree with you guys completely. Your job, a lot of the times, somewhat shows how you are as a player in games. And we see that with so many people. It just how, if you're looking at any Survivor season, what they have for an occupation, they sometimes act as though the same person that they are when they're working in the actual workplace.
Mm-hmm. Well, take Tommy. He's a teacher. He just comforted everyone the entire way through that season. Yep. And he was that person that they could go to. And everyone was going to Tommy.
Teaching everyone else how to vote for him. So,
and she even relates herself to Parvati.
Oh, so okay. So that I think is a plus and a minus, because if you come off as that next Parvati, as we see in so many seasons, you're gone. You're out. So you do not mention anything, like don't mention the P word. Like that's like a no-go. But if she has that personality and can charm those people, like we hear Jerry say, if she could bottle it up and sell it, I'd buy it. Like, if she's able to do that, then amazing.
Also, she notes too that she's very athletic. I will say some of the challenges that we do require endurance. And if you're able to do well in those, you get far in the game sometimes, because not everything we do is complete strategy.
Right. Like sometimes you got to hold your hands out like this and hold some water bottles. So
Yeah, I mean, like she may save her strength for that one challenge that she may need it for, and it could either like save her and keep her propeller farther in the game. You never know.
Yeah, we'll see. I actually feel pretty high on her, and I'm looking forward to seeing how she does in this mini.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
Yes.
All right. The next person we have is Amy Combs. All right, we got 3 more people left to talk about. The next person on the list is Jackie Blom. She is 24 years old and she is an astronomy PhD student. Oh my God.
I have powerhouse on my notes.
She's played 4 orgs with placement 7th, 5th, 1st, and 10th. So she has a wide spread of placements. So it's hard to pin her down with how exactly she's going to do, I think, in this game, because we see her place 1st, but we also see her place 10th. So
if you're placing 10th, though, in a 20-person game or a 20-plus person game.
That is true. It depends on the cast size.
Good.
It depends on the cast size, that's for sure.
Yeah, she's someone that I recruited for the season. I wanted to have her on because I think she's going to be a very strong player.
Yeah. And I love that she relates to Kim Spradlin and Kelly Wentworth, two of my most favorite. Yeah, like you have Kim, who is a challenge beast, who also found a lot of hidden immunity idols. And then you have Kelly Wentworth, who in her 2nd season became a huge strategist.
And found idols.
You know, yeah.
I found so many. So everybody watch out for Jackie with those idols.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I think she's going to do really well in this game. I just hope that she doesn't come off too strong, because then they might keep her for a little bit, but then maybe like halfway through the merge, they're like, okay, we got to get rid of her because no one can sit with her at the end or she will win.
Have that, hopefully she has that like Kim Spradlin magic where, you know, you want to just work with her and a game be damned. Like, I will go to the end and lose.
Yeah.
I watched the recent org that she played in. She's going to be a challenge beast on this season. I know she's going to perform well in challenges.
What was her placement on that most recent one? Was it the 7th?
That one might have been the 10th.
Okay.
That one might have been the 10th. I can't remember everyone's placement, but to be fair, the season that she just played on, I think they had more than 20 people on it.
Oh, wow.
A long game.
So yeah, she was just playing in a long game. So some orgs have 24 people in it. I've seen orgs that have 26 people in it. It varies. So that's the thing. You can't really take the placements into account.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why she did get voted off in this previous one that she was in, just because she was such a threat.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm afraid of, is she's going to get a string of immunity hit, like individual immunity wins. And then that one time she doesn't win, they're going to jump at it.
Yeah. I agree. She's someone I'm excited to see play. I think she can win this game. I really do think she can win.
Embed herself solidly with an alliance, because if you're that much of a threat, you need to get other big threats to surround you.
Oh yeah, lions and hyenas.
Yes. But yeah, that's all I have to say about Jackie. She's someone that people need to watch out for, because I think she can win this game. And if she doesn't win the game, I think she's going far. The only way I could see her going early is if her tribe realizes we don't want her to get to the merge because she's too much of a powerhouse and she could win those individual challenges. All right. Next person we have is Britley Walla, who is 29 years old and a stay-at-home mom.
All right. So Britley is one of my best friends who I recruited for this game. We watch Survivor every week when it's on. I think she could do really well in this game. I think she even mentions this in the forum, like she plays like Sari, which I completely agree with. I think she's loyal to the core with the people that she is with, but she is not afraid to stir the pot and start some drama.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see her play, and hopefully she does well, because I don't think she'll back down. We talk back and forth about how we would play, and she really wants to get on Big Brother so she can play a lot of pranks and cause some drama. And so I'm hoping she'll bring that energy to this game. Oh, it's going to be awesome.
I've had actually a little bit of interaction with Britley on Jeremy's streams. We played Among Us, and one round I stuck around with her, and like we were a tight pair, and she was great, vouched for me, I vouched for her. But then another game, she killed me. So like I feel like she will be a great player in this game.
Mm-hmm.
It's really solid.
Yep.
One of the reasons I think she could do well is she even references that she loves Pearl Islands simply because of the Johnny Fairplay dead grandma lie. And that goes back to what Jeremy was saying about her, is she's someone that enjoys those big, bold moves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone can ever top that, but if you can do something close to that in a mini, I would be here for it.
Oh, yeah. In a heartbeat.
Especially with Sari, where if she plays similar to Sari just like sprinkles stuff and walks away. Yep. So like that's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's comparing herself to one of the biggest badasses out there in Sari. And if she can live up to a Sari arc, that's amazing for her. I think anyone will want to be as good as Sari.
Yep. I'm hoping she can do an Eric type moment and just convince someone to do something totally stupid. Or if she's going out, she goes out in style and just gets advantage getting out. So
I hope that for nobody. I'm
all right. So we like to have our orgs kind of very basic.
Yes.
So if you're playing in any of our orgs, no advantage getting. I'm sorry.
It'll never happen, and I will eat my words if it does.
Like, we didn't have an idol on either the Yoloka or Toa Beach. I mean, you were there for two rounds, but like we didn't want to have an idol there because we didn't want to have 3 idols at episode 3.
Oh, yeah.
Like, not gonna happen. So there was only a merge idol.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, I prefer old school Survivor. So then again, when I'm hosting the game, that's kind of how it's gonna go.
Yeah, and I do have to push her to at least have an idol, because Lauren does want.
I wanted no idols.
Yeah, I pushed for having the one.
My first thing when I walked into the last season that Jeremy played in, I said, I don't want any idols, no advantages. I just want them to play, see what happens, and then get to the end with having their social skills and being able to win challenges and communicate with other people. However, I was outruled by my whole entire production team, which I still do not like.
Well, that's why it's a team, Lauren.
I know. I bend sometimes, but you're not going to break me with all of them.
Yes, exactly.
All right, let's get to our final person. This is the person that all 3 of us know. Her name is Morgan Jackson. She's 29 years old, and she is a high school math teacher.
Oh, love me some Morgan.
Yeah, where do we start with Morgan?
I don't know, Jeremy, get us started. Talk about Morgan.
Okay, all right, yeah. So
you played with her, like I didn't get to actually play with her.
Track.
Yeah, so McKenna and we played in the TRHS versus the Specialist game. We were on the same tribe all the way up through the merge until she got voted out.
You did McKenna, not Morgan.
Oh, did I? Oh,
yes.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you can edit that out.
It's a Sunday night, almost 8 p.m. Jeremy's, not completely there.
Yeah, it's almost my bedtime. So,
right.
Morgan is a complete strategist, social threat. Like, she is almost the entire package. She really is the entire package in a Survivor game. Everyone loves Morgan.
Yep.
She knows how to maneuver her way through a game. She can win challenges, both in the team setting and individually. She is going to be a complete beast in this game. I think she can win this game if she gets her footing right and people don't see how big of a threat she can actually be. So,
yeah, she's a physical threat and a puzzle threat. So, like,
yep.
you throw her on any aspect of a challenge and she's going to crush it. So again, she just kind of has to manage that threat level where she went early-ish jury in our game because she was that threat.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she compares herself to Aubrey Bracco, very nerdy, and also someone that likes to play hard, goofy. And I see Aubrey in Morgan. And I just think with her, there's some other people in this cast that have a little bit of a similar arc to Morgan. And if those people clash, it's just going to see who can survive the longest.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
She's also, to her credit, a high school math teacher. So again, that teacher aspect of knowing how to deal with crazy situations, different types of people, high schoolers, like that's a lot to deal with. So she's got a lot of pluses, and her ceiling is high.
Yep.
Her ceiling is very high, and I'm very excited to watch her play in a season where people do not have pre-existing relationships. Because the thing about going into a season with pre-existing relationships, and we talked about this earlier, if you know someone, you're going to roll with them whether you like them or not. Now, with this one in particular, she gets to pick and choose. Hey, I want to work with this person. Hopefully they want to work with me. I don't have to worry about them having someone else on the other tribe that they're just going to jump to when they get to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. I hope she does well, but we'll be here for you if for some reason you don't. But
where are we thinking? Where are we thinking Morgan's going to finish?
Definitely make the merge. I think if she doesn't sit in that final tribal council, she is like one of the very last jurors.
Yeah. I think if she plays her cards right, she gets with the right people, she can go to the end, and hopefully she can adjust her game where people don't see her as that huge threat as everyone saw in our season.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Right on. I don't see going early either. I see her making it very far, but as I've said, there's some other people in the season that are very similar to her. So it's just going to be that whoever can jump the gun and get themselves further. Whether they all work together, we don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see. It's going to be very exciting.
Let's see how Morgan and Jackie interact.
Yeah.
Because I think those are like the counterparts. So either they bond together because they are like roughly the same with like threat level, physicality, and personability. They either are on the same side or trying to lead their tribe if they happen to be on the same tribe.
Both super threatening, and they're at the top of my list in terms of threat level people that I can see in this mini. Other people that you guys think could maybe link up with each other?
I think with knowing Kyle and knowing Dylan, if they wind up together, they could form a bond. That's kind of where I'm going with it. I think Kyle and Dylan could link up, but I don't know how much pull that they have with other people.
Yeah, I think for me it's really tough just going off by our base cast assessments. I would have to see like what they do in that first 30 minutes to really see kind of like their game styles and like who would match up with who. It's tough. I don't know.
I think I could see Shay and Greg, the D&D group, because the thing is, if you have a short little, people talk about themselves for sure. And if you both say, oh, I love D&D, great. You might just link up just because of that. If you can find just a little thing that you find in common with another person, it gives you enough incentive to want to work with them in a mini setting.
Yeah, and it all depends on tribe breakdowns. Like people could not be on the same tribes. So we don't know this season if we are going to do a real schoolyard pick or if we're breaking them down like we did with the last season. So it all depends on how the tribe breaks down to see who is aligned with who.
Yeah.
The big thing too with this season is we have 14 players instead of 12 players. So there's definitely going to be more maneuvering, and there could be many more shakeups, many more twists. People are just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll have more time to go maybe to 3 tribes, back to 2 tribes, tribe swaps. You don't know. There's more. We'll have, with 2 more people, we have more time to spend in the tribal phase.
I'm all for it. Love to see it.
Jeremy's just excited to be on production for this season and get to see everything that goes on behind the scenes.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a fun time though to play with Minnie. So.
Yes. However, that basically wraps us up, right? I don't really have anything else to say about any of these people. I'm stoked.
Yeah,
I'm
really excited. It's going to be so fresh and great season.
Yeah, we have a lot of different personalities, I think, and I think it's going to turn out to be a really good season.
Yes,
I can't wait for it. What I will say, season happened on Saturday, February 27th, and now you guys are going to get to see after the game already occurred. You're going to hear the assessment, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
You got a lot of content to come, and subscribe, become asked to be a part of our Facebook group. That's where really you can hear a lot of all the news of future games if you would like to play.
And let us know who you're rooting for on this season.
For sure. Thanks, guys, for watching.